I feel like I have not sat down and recorded a podcast in a minute, and we're going to talk about it and just go through it and the lessons that I've learned because, girl, okay, girl, that's all I have to say about that. So grab your coffee, which I had on my brand new white couch. And I already spilled a cup of coffee up there. So, why I feel the need to continue to put my coffee on the couch, I don't know. But it is sitting right there. And let's just talk about it. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Cozy and Thriving. I'm your host, Michaela, and this is a podcast where we just learn to build a life that we actually want to be present for. I am so excited about today's episode because one, I'm sitting down and doing it. And if you've listened to me for any length of time, you know this is one of my favorite things to do. I love being a podcaster. I love podcasting. I think that it's one of the best forms of entertainment, and being able to be in this space is such an honor, and to actually have people like listen and tune into your podcast and want to be a part of what you're doing is just amazing. So I'm so excited about today because it's kind of like a spin-off of last week's episode where I was like, I need to check in, I need to talk about future you, I need to do all of these things. And if this is your first episode listening to me, I'm so thankful that you are here. I am beyond excited that you're here, and I have based a lot of this podcast off of my series that I did on TikTok and then earlier in the year on this podcast of the future you, where we were just building to a life that we actually wanted to be present for. We were building to our future selves. But I felt like as I was listening to that and going back into that, I was listening and hearing the dangers of that, which is actually pretty crazy. I think that it is so good, but if you're anything like me, you can take things to the extreme and it almost becomes this perfectionist mindset. There have been times where I haven't posted content because of how I felt it looked and I wanted it to be perfect. There have been times where I didn't post podcast episodes because of how I wanted it to be perfect and how it looked and how it sounded. And then also allowing like negativity to just like enter into my brain and like how I respond to things. It was like a lot, and I felt like the Future You project is helpful if you don't get into that perfectionist mindset. And so this is all stuff that I've been learning within the last like 2 months because it has been actually crazy. There have been things that I've been wanting to do. I keep like coming up here and I'm like, I finally figured out what I wanted to do, and it sounds like a good idea in the moment. And then when I'm like actually doing it, I'm like, wait, this is actually not what I want to be doing. And there's so many more things that I know I should be doing or that I feel like I should be doing, and I'm not doing it. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about all of it. I'm going to tell you all the lessons that I've learned, and I'm hoping that this is something that you guys can take with you and just like take into the new year, because these are mindset shifts also that I just know need to be changed before going into the new year, because I don't want a repeat of what happened this year. And I also want to say before I get into this that I'm so thankful for the things that have happened this year. I'm so thankful for the Future You project. I'm so thankful for this podcast. I'm so thankful for my business. I'm thankful for all of it. But this definitely was a year of growth and learning, where next year I really want it to be a year of actually like being established in that, and being established in my business, being established in my podcast and in my content and everything. So let's get into it. Okay, let's get into it because we have a lot to talk about. So before Thanksgiving, I was under the impression that I have set for myself that the next like 2 months were going to be the best time for content for me. I was going to have the best content. I was going to make sure that I was using the good camera and not just my phone. I was going to make sure that I was like batch recording, that I was ahead of the game so I didn't get put behind, because I knew I had a lot of things happening. I knew I had a lot of time where I was not going to be home. And as a primary podcaster more than I am a content creator, I would say. And like, which is crazy to like actually admit out loud that I'm like not trying to be like an influencer. I'm not trying to necessarily even be just a content creator. I think that it just comes with the territory of being online. But I knew that because I was primarily a podcaster that I was not going to be able to record my podcast. And then on top of that, as an editor, I knew I wasn't going to be able to edit for my clients. So I wanted to make sure that everything was like, I had all my ducks in a row. Everything was going to be fine. I was going to be okay. And I would be able to go out and on vacation, everything, and just be okay. That did not happen. So before Thanksgiving, I was trying to batch record and I had this brilliant idea. Well, I've had the idea for a while, but for some reason, I thought that it was going to be okay to do this before Thanksgiving. But I am starting a social media management branch, I guess, of my business where I am now managing people's content instead of just editing it, which is like so cool and like a dream. But I decided that I wanted to like do all the branding. I wanted to do all of the um like all the content for it beforehand. I wanted to do um like get all my pricing, get all the packages, do everything. And I did this within a span of 3 days, which is like fine because I have been thinking about it for a while. I've been thinking about what I want it to be. So it wasn't like it just came out of the blue, but it was something that I should have planned out more and been okay being able to like plan it out more. I would have had more time to think about it and everything. But again, I was going out of town. I wasn't going to have time. And so I wanted to be ahead of the game. Fast forward, I got all my branding done. I started posting everything. I changed my Instagram up a little bit and started posting and then just like went completely silent. And it almost felt like an obligation to continue to post and continue to try to do my content and try to like come up with things to talk about and come up with things to say. And it was burning me out because I was pushing against the grain. I was pushing against how I was feeling. I was pushing against my circumstances. I was pushing against even where I was. Like I even started on my vacation, started to like want to put work above my vacation and spending time with my family, which is not me at all. And if you've listened to this podcast at all, you know my family is like top priority. It goes God, family, everything else. And I was starting to put my work and hustling before my family. And it is so easy to step into that hustle culture. It is so easy. And I see how now the people that are like anti-hustle want to be cozy and want to do things like soft and slow and be in the slow living lifestyle can get so sucked into that need for hustling, and or I won't even say need, but that thought that they need to hustle to do things because it sounds like a good idea in the moment until you're in it and then you're like, what am I doing? What am I actually doing? I was at my grandparents' house for, well, I should just say I was in Florida for a week. I was at my grandparents' house for I think 3 days, and then I was in Orlando for another 3 days. And while I was at my grandparents' house, when everybody would go to bed, I would like pull out my laptop and I would just like start working. And I was like, girl, this is not you. This is not how you run your business. This is it, like, what even got done? What even got done that at night when you were just typing away, and what were you doing? But I was slipping into that hustle culture because I thought that that's what I needed to do to stay on top of it, to continue to grow, to continue to promote my upcoming business, to or upcoming branch to my business. That's what I thought I needed to do to stay relevant, for people to stay engaged with me and to want to continue to listen to the podcast. They wanted, or I even thought that because I had just done a podcast webinar, that if I was not showing up online and if I was not posting my podcast, that my webinar was going to be like not qualified. It was like not going to be valuable at any cost. at all. And that could not be further from the truth. And so, fast forward to after my trip, I am now home, which is actually this week. um, I'm recording on a Saturday, so this is like, yeah, like I got home Monday from my Florida trip, and I was so burnt out from trying to hustle on my vacation that I was moving in literal slow motion. My client work was slacking. My own content was slacking. The way that I have been approaching content was slacking. And I just needed like a complete reset. Like, I just needed to be like, I am just not going to do any type of work. I'm not going to do any type of content for like a couple of days. And I didn't do anything on Thursday or Friday. And now I'm doing stuff because now is the time where I feel refreshed. I feel like I can now go into the new year with clarity and with a better mindset. And I should say, not even just a new year, but a new week. Like next week, I can go into it with clarity and a better mindset, and with this non-hustle culture that I had started to fall into and create for myself. So hopefully that made sense. I felt like I was just rambling, but the whole point of the story and the whole point of me telling you this is that when you are trying to force something before the time, or when you're trying to rush something, I think that's even like a better word to use, is when you're trying to rush something and you're just like trying to push through and do everything in your power to make it happen in that moment. The feeling of burnout, the feeling of hustle, the feeling of like you don't want to do this anymore is going to come so much faster. And for the people that hustle all the time, I just don't know how you do it, because I literally I can physically feel it in my body. Friday had such a terrible headache, like so bad. I didn't even want to look at my phone. I didn't want to look at my computer. I was trying to watch a show. I had Drake and Josh on, and I literally was laying on my couch with my hand over my eyes, listening to Drake and Josh, because I couldn't even look at a screen. And I know for a fact it's because I was so burnt out, because I've been forcing myself to like look at the screen, been forcing my brain to do things that it didn't need to be doing and didn't need to be rushing to do. And what needed to happen, if I could start all of this over, what needed to happen was my socially stuff wait just like a week. I could have literally started doing that this week. It did not have to be the week before I went on vacation that I decided to like rebrand and do everything with that. I could have waited until this week to do that. And having a better plan and just like thinking, okay, I don't need to post 15 times a week on all platforms, like overall, with stories, with regular posts, carousels, podcasts, YouTube videos, all of it. I needed a better schedule. And if I needed to take a break, I needed to take a break. So I'm bringing this up to kind of help you in your season of busyness, because this season, I swear, is so busy, and nobody prepares you as a child for the adulthood side of Christmas. And I realized now, like growing up, my mom and my grandma, they would always just kind of be like, oh my gosh, it's Christmas season, like it's busy, I don't want to go out, I don't want to do anything. And I get that now as an adult, even though I'm still different and I still like to go out, I still like to do all the things. I realized I don't mind crowds, I should say. Everybody's trying to have the same experience. And I think that it's just a good thing to just be around people. I don't know. But just this season, there's a lot of pressures that come with it. Financial, who you're getting gifts for. Are you getting gifts? Are you making gifts? If you're a business owner, content creator, am I running a sale? Am I making more content? Am I doing Vlogmas? Am I doing Black Friday? Am I doing all these things? And like all of this just kind of like piles up on top of each other, on top of just your like regular day-to-day stuff. Like, when am I working out because now it gets dark super early, or it's cold outside so I can't do like a walk or as long of a walk because I'm cold and I don't like that feeling. And like all of these things just like pile up onto you, and it piles up into your mind to where you get stressed out, you get overwhelmed. And what I need you to do in this moment is to just take a deep breath. It's okay. It's okay. It sounds chaotic. It sounds like it's never going to end. It sounds like your to-do list keeps getting longer and longer. I understand. I know. I feel it too. You're not alone in that. But what we can do is reevaluate what is most important and what can wait. And that's actually something that I am doing this like today after this podcast. Like, I put it on my phone, on my reminders, to reevaluate what's important and what is not, and what we're doing and what we're not for the rest of the year. Because we have, what is it, like 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks left of 2025, and 2026 is right around the corner. And the other thing I feel like is that there's all this pressure to like leave everything in 2025 and 2025, and there's no like release to be like, we can do it in 2026. One of the things for me is I need to get my wisdom teeth out. I do. And I wanted to do it after the holidays. I wanted to do it in like January or February, but I felt like I needed to do it in 2025. I was like, I need to get them out in 2025. I want to leave it here. I want to start 2026 refreshed, better than ever, whatever. But then as I was thinking about that, I was getting so overwhelmed. I was getting so nervous because I was like, if I get my wisdom teeth out, then I'm already going out of town. I'll be down for a little bit because of recovery time and all of these things. I just kept like thinking about all these things that are needed and are necessary and I need to do, but it just was so much in my mind that it was stressing me out to where I didn't want to do anything. And so that was like the very first thing that I did after I had my appointment to like get a consult on like my teeth and everything. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this in 2026. I'm going to go through the rest of the holidays. Nothing's hurting, nothing's broken. I'm okay to like eat my food. I can do what I need to do. And then in 2026, I'll get them out and I'll have a better 2026 because that's not on my brain. But I can also just like rest assured that I'm not thinking about it for the rest of 2025. Like, when am I going to get them out? I need to get them out, all of these things. So if I can leave you with anything, it's to not rush what doesn't need to be happening right now. Don't rush your content. Don't rush whatever you're doing in your business. Don't rush whatever you're trying to do in your household. Don't rush whatever you have personal wise. Just go through. You can do it in a notebook. You can do it on your phone. You can do it in a planner. It doesn't matter. But you're going to basically audit the rest of this year and be like, what can wait and what can't. You have 2.5 weeks left, and you cannot fit everything that's in your brain that you want to do in these next 2 weeks. It's going to be impossible. It's going to hurt. It's going to be overwhelming. It's just not going to happen. So if it has to be January 2nd that you do it in 2026, that's okay. It's okay to carry things over into the new year. It does not have to be, it was in 2025, so therefore it's done and left. It can be moved. It can wait. 2026 has 365 days and not 14, 15, 16, 17, however many days is left. Okay. So hopefully this helped. Hopefully everything made sense. Hopefully my story helped. Hopefully I could encourage you to just like relax, take a deep breath. And I think that this will be the last podcast episode of the year because Christmas and New Year's is coming up, and I do not want to rush anything or just like, I don't know, this whole, after doing this entire podcast and talking about it, if I was trying to put out a podcast episode every single day and tried to record it and edit it and everything for the rest of the year, it would, no thank you, no thank you. So we are going to start this back up in 2026. I hope that this helped you guys. I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your year. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and yes, you can follow me on all socials. I have changed my Instagram and it will be in the description. It is Michaela E. Barnes, where you can follow me. It will have all things that I talk about on this podcast, and just like, we'll just connect a little bit more. And then you can also follow my business page, which is 1008 Creations on Instagram, and we can just have a really good, fun, lovely time on all the social media platforms and just kiki haha and have a good time. So with all that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your year. I was gonna say week, but your year, and I'll see you guys in 2026. Bye everybody.